You know, people say knowledge is power. It's not, folks. You may know more about the mating habits of moths in Ethiopia than anyone else on this planet, and what good would it do you? The only thing that is powerful is applied knowledge. It's only when you can apply it that it's knowledgeable. Have you learned things in the last 2 days that you feel you might be able to apply? Yes. That's what it's all about. They said, do you gamble? I said, no, the real jackpots are in the suburbs. I bought a house using none of my own money, and it was cash flow positive. And my staff, and remember, we invest in real estate and we teach real estate. My staff said, but you can't do that. And I thought, if my staff believe that, no wonder everyone else thinks that. So I set out to buy one house a week for an entire year. In essence, we looked for houses that were in pre-foreclosure. Here in America, before a bank can take a house into foreclosure, or the owner into foreclosure, they have to send out an NOD, a notice of default. It varies state by state, but typically it's 90 days before the foreclosure commences. So you can get the listing of all the foreclosures coming up in 90 days. And I'd basically knock on the door. You can't say, hey, buddy, you lose them, I buy them. That doesn't sound good, and it's not good. I'd say something like, hey, I understand your house is in trouble. Not you're in trouble, the house. And sometimes they say, no, it's not, and they slam the door in your face, and 90 days later you see they've gone to foreclosure. But they say usually, yeah, I came here as a last resort thinking life would be great, but my girlfriend left me or my boyfriend left me, and now I owe $5,000 to the bank and I don't know what to do, and I just want to go back home to Minnesota or Boston or Wisconsin or whatever. And so I'll say, well, is there any way I might be able to help you? If I could, what would that look like? And usually they say, well, if you pay off the monkey I owe the bank, the $5,000, I'll quit claim deed you the property. I'll give it to you. I can do that. And I'd say, well, if you quit claim deed me the property, though, remember the mortgage stays in their name. I said, would you mind staying on the mortgage? And they said, stay on the mortgage? I can't afford the mortgage now. That's why why would I stay on the mortgage? I said, well, listen, if you don't stay on the mortgage, then firstly, I have to get a new mortgage. There's a $500 application fee, 3-week wait period. I can only get 80% of the contracted purchase price. I have to put in money. But more particularly from your perspective, if I get a new mortgage, you've got a big black X by your name because you are in foreclosure, whatever situation. But if you let me pay the mortgage every month and you stay on the mortgage, your credit will go from being really bad to hot again. It'll be great. Why would you do that? I said, well, we all win. I don't need to put the 20% cash in. I'm paying the mortgage anyway. If I don't, I lose my $5,000, then I'm going to, anyway, you get the drift. So we're actually helping them. And I think your question is there any way we can help the commercial people? There's no commensurate thing other than whatever we offer the seller of a property, it's more than anyone else was offering them, right? It's a better deal. They're getting out of what otherwise would be a calamity situation for them. Our offer is still better than the next best offer, otherwise they would have taken the next best offer. And it's getting them out of that situation where they're going to go further and further into, depending on whether they individually bought the commercial building or whether it's through an entity, but either the entity or they will have a horrible credit score. And yeah, if they quit claim deed me a commercial, I'd try that there too. Just quit claim deed me the property, I'll pay off your debt. The more of a maverick you are, the more you have to face this in life, in your own family. Like, you're the only one who does that? Yes, well, I'm proud of it. But that's how you get ahead. You've got to be willing and daring to be different. And because if you conform, then you become like the average. And on average, real estate's not doing well. The trick is, how can we do extraordinarily well? We're getting ghost restaurants now, is what they're called, where they cook food, but you can't sit in and dine because all these takeaway services or delivery services deliver them. Uber has gone from just driving passengers around to picking up your prescriptions and taking food from ghost restaurants to homes. The world is changing, and you can lament it and say, man, if only we'd known about this, or you can be at the cutting edge. If you've never seen a car parking construction building in Japan, parking's at a premium, just like it was hard for me to get a car park here. But you drive into this little hole and put your car on this little ramp, and then you step out and close the door behind you, and you get a plastic card like a credit card, which knows where your car is. And it's gone onto what's essentially a Ferris wheel, but instead of being circular, imagine it being squashed. It's like a paternoster elevator, if you know what it is. So the car goes in, and it goes up, and they go around and come down again. And then you've got the card because it knows where your card is. So when you come back, you put your card in, it knows your car's up there, it brings it down, it backs it out, it's got a circular plate that swivels it, and you're ready to go in the right direction. Now think of the advantages. You can build a car parking structure that's 2.5 car widths wide, right? 1 car deep, as tall as you make it. If it's 20 stories high, you can get 2 times 40 cars or 80 cars in there. You have no wasted space for turn bays and pulling in and pulling out. There are no rapes or assaults or murders or thefts in the car parking building because no one's in there. When you think of all these advantages, you think, why don't they have it? Now, they're not cheap. They're $500,000. Is that cheap or expensive? Well, the answer to any question is, it depends. Here in Phoenix, it's expensive because land is so cheap. We build out rather than up. In Manhattan, in central London, in Tokyo, in Yokohama, in Seoul, in many places, land is expensive. So the value of rental on commercial space in terms of dollars per square foot is often measured in the number of car parks they have per 1,000 square feet. So if it's low enough, you can't get a high rent. You might get $14 a foot. But if you can increase the rental on that blank wall at the back of the building that's only one car length deep, and you've got 4 car slots, or call it 5, well, we can get 2 of these parking structures side by side, 2 times $500,000's $1 million, but the rental goes from $14 a foot to $18 a foot. That's only a $4 lift, but it's over 200,000 square feet. That's $400,000 a year extra, and these things are only costing us $1 million. That's a 40% return on your marginal investment. And not only do you get more money, but you have more satisfied tenants, longer leases. So you just got to work the numbers sometimes. What I realize is the real secret to success is being creative, right? We've heard that again and again. What can we creatively do with this property? And we touched on it a couple of times, so sorry for repeating it. But those of you that have master franchises, you know that by getting a franchisee who needs premises, then you're now marrying 2 things. You're organizing a tenant for a premise, but you've also got a premise for your franchisees. It's sort of a double whammy win. So now we're talking about business and what things can we do to enhance getting franchisees, or how do you choose them? You use creativity for that as well. I focus on on commercial, but I bought 4 residential last year because I thought the opportunity was too good. How can we be creative in that? So the shift is really more towards how do we focus on creativity? Because you can deploy that creativity in any area. So as we run our monthly events, we're going to shift it from just pure commercial to pure creativity with a heavy leaning on commercial.